guys, so as you can see, I have some turkey feathers from a turkey that my husband just shot, and I want to do some framing decor. So I already have, I'll put a picture when I edit this in. I made like a big display with the fan, and I did use part of the wings, obviously, because these are not the full wings, in that big display with the fan, but these, you know, they weren't going to fit on there, and I didn't want to waste them, so I'm going to attempt to put these beautiful guys in a frame like this. I also have this one. These are just cheap frames from Walmart. This one's a little rusticy, this one's a little more modern, but yeah, we're gonna do that tonight. So I'm gonna really quickly go over my the steps. So I'm also gonna be talking about all of these supplies that I have used or am going to be using during the framing. So the very first thing that we did was my husband just ended up skinning the bird. So he skinned it in the sections of the fan all the way to from the fan to the head, so getting all of that back, and then he separated the chest feathers, and then he separated the two wings, and as you can see, he's got some of the skin a little bit attached to here, and like I said, these are not the full wings, these are just part of them. So the very first thing that we did was we came home, and then we ended up freezing it because I didn't have the time. We have a 15-month-old, so I didn't have the time to go ahead and start working on it. So we ended up just putting it in, we have a deep freezer, and we put it in trash bags, and we just put it in the freezer. And then the night before I wanted to work on the mount and everything and start working with the feathers, we did let it defrost overnight in a cooler without any ice or anything. And then what I did was I washed all of them. So I got a big tub. It's over there actually, sorry for the mess. But we got a big tub, and I used Dawn dish soap, and I just did a good scrub. So I opened everything up and I just kind of sloshed it around. I wasn't really like manhandling the feathers or anything. And then I laid them out, got them separated, and I used this dryer. Well, actually at first I used a really small hair dryer, which ended up just being really frustrating and taking a really long time. So I enticed my husband to go get me a new one, which I needed anyway. And it has this little attachment piece. It comes off, but it consolidates all of the air, and it makes it so much easier for drying. And it's got a bunch of different settings, hot, warm, cold. So yes, 10 out of 10 recommend a dryer if you can find one or borrow one from someone with something that kind of funnels the air. So once I got those dried, this has been a several day process because I've made several different pieces. So I've made the really big piece. I'll put a picture when I edit the video. The really big diamond shaped fan display. I made a smaller picture frame of just some leftover feathers that I have because I really don't want to waste all these beautiful feathers. And then now we're doing this. So this has been like a 4-day process. So what we've been doing in the meantime after we thawed and we washed them was we put them in our cooler on ice. And all of our ice melted. And I talked to my dad, and he recommended using some salt, which we have our feet and our beard curing in salt too to dry out. And he was like, this will cure the meat, so it's not going to go bad, because some of the flies were getting at it, and not at this one specifically, but the chest feathers. And so I put some salt on it to cure it. And as you can see, it has held up. I don't get any smell. There's no pungent odor of decay. I am hoping that most of the salt can get out. I'm not going to be really using, luckily enough, I'm not going to be using these feathers. I am going to be using some of these, but I'm mostly just going to be using the front pieces. So I'm really hoping that that comes out. So I literally just use like iodized salt, you know, go Walmart, cheap stuff. I will be using a hot glue gun for the thicker quills. So so I first started out using this guy. Do not recommend this guy. I like Gorilla Glue. It's not the brand. This one comes out yellow. I'll show you. And it bubbles really badly. And so I bought this big thing and I was like, oh, I bought it so I want to use it. So my fix for, it also gets everywhere. It's not a consolidated stream. So my fix was to just use a piece of cardboard to protect the feathers, because I was getting glue on the feathers when I was trying to do them in layers. So don't recommend this one. This one's very strong, yes, but it's yellow and it bubbles really badly. This one is clear, heavy duty spray adhesive, clear color, easy to use. I definitely recommend this one. I've already used a lot of it because I finished my project with this because I ran out of hot glue, and I was like, maybe see if there's like a clear adhesive. So there is. Definitely recommend this guy, not this guy. Don't get that one. And then the hot glue is just because these quills, this is really good for these like small feathers because it attaches and it lays straight and it doesn't really seep through. But with the thickness of these quills, I definitely recommend doing like a hot glue type situation, or nails. I watched a video of a guy who did nails. Also, this is my first time. I don't know if I disclosed that to you guys. I've never ever done anything with feathers ever. I do stuff with like antlers. My whole page is dedicated to macrame, which is tying knots. It's funnily enough also very tedious, like gluing feathers. But anyway, this is my first time, so I'm not an expert. If you guys have, if you guys want to share tips and tricks, go right ahead, because your girl's not an expert. I definitely will be doing this again, because I love this. I kind of thrive on this kind of stuff. But anyway, these are wire cutters. You can use traditional scissors, but for these thicker quills, you're going to need something like this. You could use these, but these are my nice craft scissors, which not anymore because they have glue all over them. But these will dull out like if you have nice scissors. So I got these. This was recommended from another video. I'll link it down below if you want to watch that one too. But with these thick quills, you're going to need something. It's kind of like cutting a toenail is what I compare that to. And then this, so these are curved, obviously. They have a curve. So what I found was the best to lay them flat. I saw one guy recommend getting an iron and getting like a damp towel and using an iron over them to help flatten them. But that's a lot of work, and we're working in the garage. And I didn't want to do that. So what I did do was I kind of created a notch by sawing with a knife and then breaking it a little bit, because these guys do not break very prettily. So I made that little niche in there, a very, very small niche, and then I bent it backwards and broke it ish for it to lay flat. And it didn't impede like the pattern of the feather at all. So I recommend doing that. It's easy, it's a quick fix. I love that. I love a quick fix. Also, kettlebells. I use these because some of these quills from the larger part of the wing were very temperamental, and they did not want to lay flat. So instead, I used a 30-pound, because 10-pound was not enough for some of these quills. But I don't think I'm going to need these, because these are not as big as the ones that I did need these for. I don't know. We're going to find out. But yeah, I think that's all. And baby wipes, because your fingers are going to get messy. But yeah, I think that's all of the stuff that I use. So I'm going to stop yapping and we're going to get this done. I'm going to first shake off all this salt, and then hopefully it hasn't, gotten stuck in my feathers. So, yeah. Okay, so we got that done. Yeah, some of these guys, the salt is kind of, you know, in there, but that's not a big deal because we're not even going to be using, like, it's mostly stuck in that fuzzy part of the feather, but we're not really going to be using that. We're only going to be using this tippy top. So I think I'm going to start with this set. I'm going to set this, this guy aside, and we're going to get started. Oh yeah, another thing I use is gloves because I don't love touching flesh that's, you know, dead. So I guess we're gonna start with, I have 2 frames. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start with this guy. So with the other frame, I literally just, well, so with the big fan piece, I literally just got like a piece of plywood from Lowe's, and I glued it on there. I wanted something really sturdy, but with the other frame that I did, I just glued it on the back of this thing, because it's very thick, sturdy, you know, I can push on it and it's not gonna get crazy, and it's also got built-in stuff. I would not be using the glass, so I'm going to dispose of the glass. I guess you can use the glass, but I don't think that these quills are gonna lay flat, super flat. So, yeah, when it's in the glass, I'm just not gonna use it. So I'm gonna set this frame aside, and then here we are. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to clip all of these back feathers, and I can already tell, I think you saw the dimensions, but this is an 11 by 14. So I'm gonna clip all these back feathers and lay them, because you're gonna do this in layers, like how the wings actually are. So I'm pretty much going to do my very best to just take this whole thing and glue it on here. And yeah, it's gonna be done in layers. So these wings they kind of cant this way. So the first thing I'm going to start doing is I'm going to lay this far one and then layer on top of it how it is actually on the joint of the wing. So we're going to get our handy dandy clippers. We're just going to start going. So I'm not crazy about, you know, how close or not close. Like you just heard, yeah, you're gonna need something a little stronger than, you know, regular scissors. So, and yeah, like I said before, these aren't gonna lay flat. I'm gonna worry about making those notches, you know, whenever I go to lay them down and get them glued. Yeah, so I'm just gonna work through getting these off. And then I think I'm gonna have to get these, you know, kind of off. You know, I do have spray paint from when I did the plywood. I spray painted the plywood that I got, just so, you know, the back color wouldn't seep through. But I don't feel like I'm gonna have to do that here. I don't think. I think I'll be able to just layer it enough that I won't have to do that. And I do want to try to use all of these feathers. I don't really want to leave any out. I kind of want to keep, you know, the natural look. guess I'm just gonna have to spread these out a lot to be able to cover. Yeah, I do like that though. So I do like this. I'm gonna start with this. I like this a lot. So I need to kind of measure a little bit. Just kind of take a mental image of how this fan is working out. I mean, I guess what I could do is kind of get a thing and like draw. This is my table, so I don't care if I mark on it necessarily. Can I draw where they all go? I don't know, that seems like a good idea. We're gonna do that. Just make a little, where the tip of the quill should be, roughly. I don't know, guys. We're gonna see how this, I guess, well, I have a ton of cardboard over there. I guess I could put cardboard down, but this is my table. I already have glue all over it. So we're just gonna go with this. So, yeah, I guess we're gonna start gluing down. So, I'm gonna scooch all these guys off. And then we're gonna start gluing. So, I am going to try and bend these. Oh, okay. I guess that worked with these ones, to bend them like this, so. Yeah, I guess we could do that. This works. All right, we're gonna start gluing. So we're gonna see if this quill will accept this Gorilla Glue first. So I got my spot. I'm gonna, ew. I hope this isn't dried up. Okay. Yeah, prepared to have sticky fingers for a while. Okay, we're gonna get going. We're just gonna wing it, guys. I'm sure there might be a better, more scientific, artsy method of this, but this just vibes right, you know? We're gonna hold her down. Hold it down, B.O.B. I'm sorry, guys. Silly. Gonna use some of this glue. Ignore my stomach. The girl's hungry. Okay, so it did work-ish. I need to spray more on this side. I just decided to neglect this guy. We're just gonna hold it down. Ignore my congestion, please. Do me a favor, don't comment about that. I'm not a vlogger. I'm not a professional here, so just give me some grace. I guess that works. All right, we're gonna start with the next one. Alrighty, so get that guy down. I like it. Looks, sure, it looks right. Looks right to me. Gonna break her a little bit. Cool. And glue. Yeah, these quills, I could definitely use the 10-pound weight too, because these are much more malleable than the other ones. The other ones were like crazy. Crazy, crazy. That needs way more glue. Use some hot glue with this guy. That guy could use some too. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm gonna get in a rhythm here shortly. It's these thick quills that kind of take a while, which are more tedious than the thin quills. dishwasher. Looks good.